Oh boy, hasn't it been a while since I last posted, hasn't it? Well, be not afraid because I am back. I took a short break off of making content is all. And also Creature Sonaria in general. For about 2 months to be exact. So when I came back, I didn't really expect much to change. I mean, what could have possibly changed in Creature Sonaria in a span of 2 months? Wait, what? 2,400 for a single max token? What? What? No, you're joking me. This is a joke. What is this? At least we have one normal. Oh my god! This person has 50,000 miles. Tell me this is a joke. Tell me this is a joke. Please, tell me this. The economy has gotten so much worse. It's not even a joke anymore. What, like, genuinely, what is this? A high ghost for 9,000 mush? It should be worth, like, 1,000 or, like, no, actually less than 1,000. 500 at best. So, how did we get here? How did these creatures possibly rise in price so much that they're basically double or even triple the price they used to be? Well, it's simple, and also it's the sad truth at this point. The problem is the rich people. The people with a lot of mush or a lot of creatures that purposely rise the prices of these. How they do it is pretty simple as well. They would go in Trade Realm, well, not really, but they would go in the Discord or sometimes the Wiki and buy the creatures for an absurdly high amount of price. This is actually shown best in how Mijusuma became so expensive. Back when it was about 5,000 or something, these rich players basically went in Discord and started bulk buying them for about 10,000 each. And soon enough, some people also followed by buying Mijusuma for 10,000 each. Others started selling them for 10,000 each, which eventually caused it to be worth more than even 10,000 now. Another way they can do this is through hoarding. Hoarding is a thing that you can only really use against a player base when it's a badge limited creature, which unfortunately is what they're doing right now. How the hoarders cause prices to go up is by bulk buying creatures such as Mijusuma, Kovarex, Karuku for large amounts. And basically what happened is that they'd end up having stacks upon stacks of this type of species, in which they only have 2 options left. They should sell them or they should keep them. Both ways increase the prices. If you have, like, for example, over 100 Karukus, then you can sell them for like 200,000 each, and people will buy it, causing its initial price to rise up. Sometimes you can also just hoard it and hoard more of them. Then there will be less Karukus in general around, which also will eventually cause the Karuku's price to rise. Although, albeit it is harder for that method to happen as it's time ticking, it can still happen, and it has happened in fact already. The prices that Karuku are is now almost triple. No, actually more than triple. It's 4 times higher than its original price, maybe even 5 depending on the situation. People are now buying Karuku for about 400,000 or 500,000 mush each. If you think about it, that's worth more than a Somna Illis, if it wasn't for the fact it too rose up in price. In fact, everything did. Roll limiteds, Robux, events, everything. And it's sad to think about it because the only people that benefit from this are the already rich people. The people who are new or have other things to do other than playing Creature Sonaria will struggle in this new economy. Let's do a comparison as well. Back during Legacy, when Banishee and Bazel had their first initial release, they costed over 1,000 Robux. The same amount they probably have right now, or maybe even more. But can you take a good guess of what their initial price was? No, it's not over 30,000. It was actually a solid 10,000, which is actually about 3 times less than what their current price is as of this point. Because right now, their worth is about 36,000 or just 30,000. Before, it was only 10,000. And it was also considering that was back when they had a huge amount of hype for being yin-yang creatures, with them later on dropping down to about 5,000 or 6,000 depending on which one you're getting. However, as of Recode by now, they have risen to over 30,000 mush total. With that, I'd also like to note that it seems that ever since 2025, or ever since the new trade realm has released, everything has become more expensive. For example, Aries used to be about 10,000 to 15,000, raising up to about 30,000 in Recode, and in 2025 as of now, about 100,000 to 200,000. Sigma Talks, originally pricing about 100,000 or 150,000, is now priced at least 300,000 or even 500,000 mush. Kuruku, pricing at a solid 80,000 to 100,000 in Legacy, rising up to 100,000 to 120,000 in Recode, and as of late has risen to about 400,000 to 500,000 in Mush. All Linus, one of the most unpopular badge limiteds during Legacy, only ranged around 2k in total, later on rising up to 10k as of Recode, then rising up to 50k, 30k, 50k, and then now I'm pretty sure it's over 300k total. Robux creatures, originally pricing around 1,000 to 3,000, excluding Banish and Basil, now cost well over 10,000. I think you'd get the rest, but what I'm trying to say here is that back in Legacy, it's so much more player-friendly. Everything was at least affordable to some extent, and I can tell you it is because of my own personal experience. Ever since 2025, or at least the stalls or the new trade realm update happened, everything fallen apart. It hasn't really been the same. Everything's overpriced. It's super unhealthy for new players. And the worst part, the people who actively work as staff for Creatures of Sonaria are also contributing to this. Some staff members, like artists, testers, are selling Sigma Talks for over their price, or straight up hoarding creatures just to sell them for overpriced, mainly Kurukus. Content creators, CCs, although may not be technically very involved with Creatures Sonaria, they are still kind of a part of the staff as they advertise the game for them. Sell their Aries to 200,000 mush. We're not going to include the 100,000 mush here because I actually see more of them sell them for 200,000 than 100,000. This is really bad because before, actually, fun fact, when the amount of Aries they had was reduced to only 5 of them, they only were about 75,000 for a single Aries. It was unknown how they rose in basically double the price now, but content creators now get 1 million mush per month if they sell all their Arieses for 200,000 mush, which is actually 400,000 or 300,000 more than what they would normally get back when they had 20 Aries. Even developers like Senna. In fact, developers like Senna were the reason why the Aries probably cost so much right now. They were the one that reduced the Aries amount that is given to content creators so they can be worth their role limited value, which doesn't make sense at all, and just proves that they're money hungry. And they've been showing more of that as of late. The biggest show of their greed was the lore event. Everything was grindy, and I noticed this little pattern where the devs would make it grindy, so then paying money to get what you want seems more eye-catching. In fact, they're doing this right now with the winter event, as you can see right here. However, this is just simply a bad way to promote people to use and spend money in your game because it literally ruins the entirety of the economy and also the fun. Doing these missions should be, yes, time-consuming, but also fun. You should enjoy these missions, not hate it so much you'd rather spend money than actually try them. This might also correlate to the economy issue. Well, if you look at a dev's perspective, to get as much mush as you'd need money. And to get that money, you need to either spend money or have a hell ton of time in the game, which shockingly your average player base won't be able to have, except for a few, maybe couple hundreds or thousands that's active in the Discord server. Honestly, if the developers don't find a way to help this problem anytime soon, it's gonna be a big problem. Sometimes you need to stop thinking about the money and start thinking about your player base and what they want and what they think. You can't just go like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cut the Aries to only 5 a month because we want them to be worthing more, because that doesn't make sense. As it doesn't really benefit you at all if you think about it in a logical standpoint. It only benefits the rich people and the CCs because then they have an excuse to overprice them. Honestly, there isn't much that I can do, but the developers need to be aware that their economy doesn't have all the time in the world to play Creatures of Sonaria. and doesn't want to spend all their money in the game just so they can keep up with the economy in general. And the economy itself needs to understand that this is harmful for newer players and also just your daily average players. Of course, the developers aren't gonna reach this, or aren't gonna find this, or actually acknowledge this as a proper issue, but it's still an issue I feel like I have to address, since I don't really see anyone else addressing them except for a minor few complaints every here and there. Other than that, that's gonna be the end of my video. Have fun, stay cool, and stay safe.